Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our online Bhagavad Gita reading retreat lab. So, in the last session, we have covered the initial sev- seven slokas of chapter 10, and in today's session, we will try to cover from verse number 8 to verse number 11 of the chapter 10. So, the chapter 10 is all about the opulence of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, and the chapter is also entitled as the opulence of the absolute. So before we getting started, let's go back to our mind map and we will see the quick summary, whatever the topic we are going to read through today. So the sloka number, the verse number 10.08 to 10.11. So in these four verses, the entire Bhagavad Gita is summarized. So all of the Krishna's opulences are summarized in the verse number 8. And after that, by knowing Krishna's greatness, devotees develop the love for him and they engage in devotional service. As the mind are fixed on the Krishna, the devotees always release, they always they discuss about Krishna, and they can't maintain their lives without him. That has been explained in the verse number 9. And then, when Krishna sees the devotees' great eagerness to serve him, he reciprocates by enlightening them from within their hearts. That have been explained in the verse number 10 and 11 of chapter 10. So it also explains the Samman, Avidya, and Prayojan. So these three principles which we'll be learning in future. So these three things also have been summarized in these four verses. So we'll try to remember uh, these four verses. So now let's move to the Veda base and we will start with verse number 8 today. Chapter number 10, the opulence of the absolute. We have seen up to the sloka number 8 last time, 7. Then now let's move to the verse number 8. So as usual, we will not be going through the synonyms or the word-to-word meaning and the sloka recitation. So we'll be having different session for that. So we'll focus more on the translation and the purport only. So verse number 10.8, translation. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Purport. A learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya and who knows how to apply these teachings can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both the material and spiritual worlds. And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries or by fools. All Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, Gopala Tapadi Upanishad 1.24, it is said, Yo Brahmanam Vidhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedam Cha Gapayati Sma Krishna. It was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again, the Narayana Upanishad 1 says, Atha Purushaha Vai Narayana Kamayata Prajaha Srijayati. Then the Supreme Personality Narayan desired to create living entities. The Upanishad continues, Narayanad Brahma Jayate, Narayanad Prajapati Prajayate, Narayanad Indra Jayate, Narayanad Asto Vasava Jayante, Narayanad Ekadasha Rudra Jayante, Narayanad Dvadasa. From Narayana, Brahma is born, and from Narayana, the patriarchs are also born. From Narayana, Indra is born. From Narayana, the 8 Vasus are born. From Narayana, the 11 Rudras are born. From Narayana, the 12 Adityas are born. This Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. It is said in the same Vedas, Brahmanya Devaki Putraha, the son of Devaki. Krishna is the supreme personality. Narayana Upanishad 4. Then it is said, Ekavai Narayan Ashina Brahma Neshana Napanagni Somo Neme Dya Apritivina Nakshatrani Na Surya. In the beginning of the creation, there was only the supreme personality Narayana. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, no water, no fire, no moon, no heaven and earth, no stars in the sky, no sun. Maha Upanishad 1.2. In the Maha Upanishad, it is also said that Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the Vedas say that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped. In the Moksha Dharma section of the Mahabharata, Krishna also says, Prajapatin cha Rudram chapi ahameva shijami vai tauhi mam na vijanito mama maya vimohito. The patriarch Shiva and others are created by me, though they do not know that they are created by me because they are deluded by my illusory energy. In the Varaha Purana, it is also said, Narayanaha Parau Devas Tasma Jatas Chaturmukhaha Tasma Drudra Bhavat Devaha Sacha Sarva Gyantam Gataha. Narayana is the supreme personality of Godhead, and from him Brahma was born, from whom Shiva was born. Lord Krishna is the source of all generations, and he is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says, because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me. No one is above me. There is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna in such a way from a bona fide spiritual master with references from Vedic literature engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man. In comparison to him, all others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool would consider Krishna to be an ordinary man. A Krishna conscious person should not be bewildered by fools. He should avoid all unauthorized commentaries and interpretations on Bhagavad Gita and proceed in Krishna consciousness with determination and firmness. Now we will move to the next verse, chapter number 10, verse number 9. Translation. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. Purport. Pure devotees, whose characteristics are mentioned here, engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotees are described in this verse specifically. Devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing him with other devotees. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself, and in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. Once situated in that transcendental position, they can relish the highest perfection which is exhibited by the Lord in his abode. Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing of a seed in the heart of the living entity. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe. And out of them, there are a few who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee and get the chance to understand devotional service. This devotional service is just like a seed, and if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes on hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, that seed fructifies. Just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering, the spiritual plant of devotional service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahma Jyotir effulgence in the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky, also, that plant grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Golaka Vrindavan, the supreme planet of Krishna. Ultimately, the plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and rests there. Gradually, as the plant grows, fruits and flowers, that plant of devotional service also produces fruits, and the watering process in the form of chanting and hearing goes on. This plant of devotional service is fully described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19. It is explained there that when the complete plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of God. Then he cannot like live even for a moment without being in contact with the Supreme Lord. Just as a fish cannot live without water. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of such narrations about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees as stated in the Bhagavatam itself, 12.13.18. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavam Priyam. In this narration, there is nothing about material activities, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees is fully described. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and girl take pleasure in association. So, in these two verses, whatever we have read now, the verse number 8 and 9. So, just to summarize, Krishna is the source of all material and spiritual worlds. And the wise people who worship him, they are always absorbed in his discussions. So, with this, now we will move to the next verse, that is chapter number 10, verse number 10. Translation. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Purport. In this verse, the word Buddhi Yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord instructing Arjuna said that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of Buddhi Yoga. Now, Buddhi Yoga is explained. Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness and devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. So here Prabhupada explains the definition of Buddhi Yoga, which means the action in Krishna consciousness. So in other words, Buddhi Yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of the progress is Krishna. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that the goal is Krishna. And when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed and the ultimate goal is achieved. When a person knows the goal of life but is addicted to the fruits of activities, he's acting in karma yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna, but he takes pleasure in mental speculations to understand Krishna, he is acting in Jnana Yoga. And when he knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in Bhakti Yoga or Vidhi Yoga, which is the complete yoga. So this complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, but if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that a person always engages himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to Him. So now we will move to the next verse, the verse number, chapter number 10, verse number 11. Translation. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the silent lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Purport. When Lord Chaitanya was in Benares, promulgating the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, thousands of people were following him. Prakashanand Saraswati, a very influential and learned scholar in Benares at that time, derided Lord Chaitanya for being a sentimentalist. Sometimes Mayavadi philosophers criticize the devotees because they think that most of the devotees are in the darkness of ignorance and are philosophically naive sentimentalists. Actually, that is not the fact. There are very, very learned scholars who have put forward the philosophy of devotion. But even if a devotee doesn't take advantage of their literatures or of his spiritual master, if he is sincere in his devotional service, he is held by Krishna himself within his heart. So the sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The only qualification is that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. The Mayavadi philosophers think that without discriminating, one cannot have pure knowledge. For them, this answer is given by the Supreme Lord. Those who are engaged in pure devotional service, even though they be without sufficient education and even without sufficient knowledge of the Vedic principles, are still held by the Supreme Lord, as stated in this verse. The Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the supreme truth, the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, simply by speculating for the supreme truth is so great that it is not possible to understand him or to achieve him simply by making a mental effort. Men can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he is not devoted, if he is not a lover of the supreme truth, he will never understand Krishna or the supreme truth. Only by devotional service is the supreme truth Krishna pleased, and by his inconceivable energy, he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart, and with the presence of Krishna, who is just like the sun, the darkness of the ignorance that was dissipated. This is a special mercy rendered to the pure devotee like Krishna. Due to the contamination of material association through many, many millions of births, one's heart is always covered with the dust of materialism. But when one engages in devotional service and constantly chants Hare Krishna, the dust quickly clears. And one is elevated to the platform of pure knowledge. The ultimate goal, Vishnu, can be attained only by this chant and by devotional service, and not by mental speculation or argument or the argument. The pure devotee doesn't have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious because when he removes the darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord, who is pleased by the loving devotional service of the devotee. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. By studying Bhagavad Gita, one can become his soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord and engage himself in pure devotional service. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. So just to summarize in these two verses, verse number 10 and 11. So just to Krishna gives intelligence to his devotees from within and mercifully destroys their ignorance. So these two lines we have to remember. Krishna gives intelligence to his devotees from within and he mercifully destroys their ignorance. So now we will go back to the mind map again. So just to summarize again, so this fourth sloka, the verse number 10.08 to 10.11, this is also known as Chatusloki Gita. So entire Bhagavad Gita is summarized in this four verses. So we'll try to remember these four verses. So we will stop here, and in the next session, we will start with the verse number 12 to verse number 18 of the chapter 10. So this verse number 12 to 18, where basically Arjuna is accepting Krishna as supreme position after going through this. So now we will stop here. Hare Krishna.